Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We are headed into our final full week of Season 3 here in Warzone and Modern Warfare 3. Obviously, on the 29th, we're going to see the launch of Season 4. That'll be our next major update. New content, new gameplay changes, new weapons, all sorts of updates there per usual with any new season. But before that point, we do have one final main routine update to go here in Season 3. It'll feature a couple of new content updates, some other changes, and who knows, while it is the final week of the season and usually we don't see anything significant in terms of patch notes or surprise weapon changes or anything like that, this year, who really knows? We see patch notes on Tuesday, then again on Wednesday, then again on Friday, all the time. So we should have at least one routine update coming up this week on Wednesday. That'll be our standard stuff, but it's also quite possible we see some other changes. And if that's the case, you guys know I'll have you covered with everything going on right as it happens. So of course, feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications to stay up to date. And if you enjoy the video as we go through all of what to expect, do me a favor and drop a like on it. As always, it is much appreciated. First things first though, usually here we like to go over like sort of a weekend recap, if you will, if there were any changes or any updates talked about from Call of Duty, but things were relatively quiet this weekend in terms of gameplay updates or anything like that. In fact, the Trello boards haven't changed since last week in terms of what is being investigated, with issues going on with infected constantly crashing, so it's been removed. A couple of other fixes scheduled for some other different bugs and whatnot. What we did see over the weekend was several pretty significant announcements though, coming from inside sources essentially. A couple of reports were put out about Call of Duty's future on Game Pass, some pretty significant ones. And first, we actually got an update on something I've seen a ton of questions about, and that is ranked play on the big map on Urzikstan, because this past week it was announced that World Series of Warzone is going to be returning this year, and it's actually going to be played on Urzikstan on the big map. However, Charlie Intel is reporting, even with the World Series of Warzone being played on Urzikstan, there's some reports that Warzone ranked play for Urzikstan is not happening despite previous announcements. You may recall through a couple of the dev calls that I've been on earlier on this year, we were told a couple of different times actually that ranked play on Urzikstan, or Battle Royale ranked, was coming just, quote, later this year. We were never given any specific timeline or anything like that. It was always, hey, we'll talk about that later on down the road. And of course, ranked for the past couple of seasons has been on Fortune's Keep, and then most recently Rebirth, with absolutely no mention whatsoever of big map ranked. So it doesn't seem like this is actually something that's going to be happening this year. It's very possible that big map ranked was in fact canceled for whatever reason. Maybe they realized players, the vast majority of the player base at least, is more inclined to play Resurgence because it's a little bit more forgiving, or perhaps they're worried about the ranked play population not necessarily holding up on big map, where you need a much larger player count to fill the lobby with the correct ranks there, you know, so it's not top 250 playing silvers and golds because there's just not enough players, obviously. Whatever the case is though, it does seem like big map ranked has either been delayed even further or potentially just all out canceled, which is certainly unfortunate. We also, though, as I mentioned, got some pretty significant news when it comes to the Xbox and Call of Duty Game Pass updates. We've talked about this a couple of times over the past few weeks. There were initially some reports that they weren't sure, Xbox and Microsoft weren't sure if they should be putting Call of Duty on Game Pass, if they'd have to adjust things because of that. But the Wall Street Journal and Charlie Intel and various other sources have all reported on some new info here. So Charlie Intel initially posted saying, breaking: Microsoft intends to add Black Ops 6, this year's new Call of Duty game, to Xbox Game Pass on day one, and that is stemming from the Wall Street Journal. They also say that Microsoft is going to make an announcement confirming COD 2024 is launching day one on Game Pass during the Xbox showcase on June 9th. So that big showcase and Call of Duty Direct event that we've got coming up is going to include even more details on this Game Pass update. Now, Charlie Intel also says it's not clear yet which tiers of Xbox Game Pass will have Call of Duty on day one, and it's also not clear if Microsoft will increase Game Pass prices. More info should be coming June 9th. So that live stream event and that showcase event is going to be very significant for the future of Game Pass in general. Then also, if you are an Xbox player or you're curious how Call of Duty's availability is going to be working here, that showcase event is going to give us a lot of much needed information to clarify buy things across the board. However, that's not all for the Xbox news. Charlie Intel and the Ghost of Hope are also reporting that a new rumor claims that the next Xbox console, whatever it's going to be called, could launch in 2026, along with Infinity Ward's Call of Duty title as a launch title. So obviously much further on down the road, but very interesting now that with Microsoft and Xbox owning Call of Duty, that could be a full-on launch title for their next console, which obviously would be a big thing for promoting general sales there for sure. So very interesting details to come in the next few days and weeks in regards to the future of Call of Duty and its availability there on Xbox, but also long term as well. There's some interesting things to keep our eyes on for sure. Now, moving on from the sort of weekend recap, if you want to call it that, like I said at the start, we do also have our final Season 3 update coming up this week, at least when it comes to the routine updates happening on Wednesday. The first major thing here is going to be our final set of weekly challenges for Season 3. So this week on Wednesday, we'll get those week 8 challenges unlocked. The reward this week should be a BP50 blueprint. We are all out of aftermarket parts for this season now. And of course, alongside that, if you've been keeping up with all the aftermarket parts and all the weekly challenges this week, you'll finally be able to unlock the Season 3 Mastery Camo. It is another animated camo here, but you've only got until the end of the season on the 29th from this Wednesday going to that. So 1 week exactly to finish up all of your weekly challenges so that you can get this camo. Then of course, when Season 4 drops, we're going to have a new Mastery Camo unlock available, and this one will be taken away forever. So very limited time here, but that final weekly challenge tier for tier 8, and then thus the ability to unlock that Mastery Camo is going to become available here in just a few days time. Alongside that, we're also going to see the conclusion of the U-Assist Veterans Challenge or event on Wednesday as well. This will seemingly be our final main event for the season. We don't have anything else lined up from any blog posts or anything. We'll have to see what exactly happens in the next few days across the board in terms of reveals and other stuff there. But if you're looking to get the Mastery Camo from the U-Assist Veterans Challenges, that's only going to be available until Wednesday morning. So if you still need to finish up a handful of things there, all the challenges should be properly tracking now with snapshots and everything else per usual. So you shouldn't have any issues completing those challenges if you are interested in any of those rewards. There are only a couple days left to fully unlock those. And then of course, when it comes to our routine updates, we should also be seeing some playlist updates go out across MW3 and Warzone. The past couple of weeks, and really the majority of the season, honestly, the multiplayer playlists end up changing on Wednesday, and then also the Warzone playlists end up changing on Thursday. Sometimes Warzone playlists don't change and they call it a quote-unquote playlist update, and they just say, hey, we're continuing these for a week. There's been no specification currently on what's going to be changing this week, but if you're wondering on the timing on those, I do see a lot of confusion, like when patch notes drop on Tuesday or we cover the basic changes on Wednesday. Hey, what about Warzone modes, or did anything change for the Warzone playlist? Those have been almost exclusive to Thursdays so far this season. And then just to close things out here, obviously because this is our final week of Season 3, that means we are in full-on reveal season for Season 4. So full-on details on the season, new trailers, everything like that will be dropping. We'll be getting a lot of info there. And that'll happen throughout the week, as mentioned, probably into early next week as well, with different reveal trailers happening, full-on breakdowns of new maps or modes, weapon reveals and battle pass stuff going on there. So lots of reveals to break down in the coming days as well. If you want to guarantee you are always up to date with everything you need to know about Call of Duty, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video. I got you guys covered with all the need to know info right as it happens on a daily basis. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and drop a like on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.